It's Monday morning, 6:45 a.m. You're sitting in bumper-to-bumper traffic on the same highway you drive every single weekday. Coffee's in the cup holder, podcast is playing, and you're doing that thing where you try to convince yourself this really isn't that bad. It's only 40 minutes each way. Could be worse. Some people drive an hour. You drift into the left lane, back to the right, maybe hitting 15 miles per hour, and your brain starts running that familiar math, calculating exactly when you'll finally get to your desk. Another 20 minutes, maybe 25 if this doesn't clear up. What you don't realize, staring at those brake lights, is that you're not just commuting to work. You're working for free. That 80 minutes a day, that's unpaid labor. Your employer has just convinced you it doesn't count. They get your time, your stress, your gas money, the wear on your car, and they pay you nothing for any of it. You think you're making $65,000 a year for a 40-hour week. But when you run the real numbers, when you account for what the commute actually cost you in time and money, you're making closer to $44,000. That drive to work just stole a raise you never even knew you were owed. My name is Mary. I've spent 16 years working as an accountant, looking closely at how money actually works in the real world. And I decided to add a female voice to the finance space on YouTube because most finance channels are run by men. If you're someone who wants to build wealth in the background of your life while still enjoying life today, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. Here's what most people miss about commuting. We've been trained by corporate culture to treat it as this neutral dead zone, not quite work, not quite personal time. You're not at your desk yet, but you're clearly not living your life either. So it just floats there, unaccounted for. And that's exactly where you're getting robbed. Let me walk you through someone's story. Her name is Maya. She is 30, works in accounting at a mid-sized company, and makes $65,000 a year. After taxes, she takes home about $48,000. So roughly $4,000 a month. She lives in the suburbs because that's where rent is actually affordable, which means her commute is 30 minutes in the morning if she leaves by 6:30, and about 45 minutes heading home because rush hour traffic always runs later. On paper, Maya's schedule looks pretty reasonable. She's in the office from 7:30 to 5:00 with an hour for lunch, 8 hours of work, 40 hours a week, a solid $31.25 an hour. That is a respectable wage. But here's what Maya's day actually looks like. She's up at 5:45 and gets ready. That's 30 minutes of prep that only exists because of her job. She's not doing her hair and picking out work clothes at dawn because she wants to. She's doing it because she has to. Then she's in the car by 6:30, drives 30 minutes, works until 5, and drives 45 minutes home. Then there's the wind down, changing out of work clothes, venting about the day, catching up on emails she missed. Another 30 minutes before she really feels like herself again. Add it all up. 12 hours and 15 minutes of her day are consumed by that job. She's only getting paid for 8 of them. Here's what that does to her actual hourly wage. $48,000 take home divided by 3,062 hours per year. That is 50 weeks, 5 days, about 12 hours a day. Her real hourly rate isn't $31.25, it's $15.67. The commute cut her wage almost in half. And we're not even done. Commuting doesn't just eat your time, it costs real money. Maya drives about 25 miles a day, which adds up to 6,250 miles a year just getting to and from work. Gas alone runs her about $700 a year, but gas is almost the smallest part of it. The IRS standard mileage rate, which accounts for maintenance, insurance, tires, and depreciation, is 67 cents per mile. At that rate, Maya is spending $4,187 a year just to physically show up to the place where she earns her paycheck. So the final math looks like this. Take her $48,000. Subtract $4,187 in commute costs. That leaves $43,113. Divide that by 3,062 hours. Her real hourly wage is $14.30. She took a job that advertised itself as a $65,000 professional career. And after the commute, she's effectively earning $14 an hour. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Mary, everyone commutes. That's just part of having a job. Sure, in the current setup, most people do. But that doesn't mean the system makes sense. And it definitely doesn't mean you should accept it without understanding what you're actually paying. Your employer knows exactly how this works. They built the entire employment model around the assumption that you'll absorb these costs without ever doing the math. When you interviewed for your job, did anyone ask how far you'd be driving? Did they offer to compensate you for your commute? No. They quoted you a salary based on 40 hours, as if you can just teleport to the office and back. Meanwhile, they're getting your time, your energy, and your money, and the real damage goes beyond the wallet. Maya leaves at 6:30 in the morning and walks in her front door at 5:45 at night. Her actual life, the part that belongs to her, fits into about 4 hours before she needs to sleep and do it all over again. 4 hours to cook dinner, work out, be present with her partner, do laundry, maybe watch half a show. By the weekend, she's not building anything or going anywhere. She's just trying to recover. Now zoom out. Look at this over a full career. If you eliminated a 40-minute commute each way, you'd get 5 hours a week back. Over 40 years, that is 10,400 hours, more than 440 full days, literally over a year of your life handed back to you to spend however you choose. And the money, that $4,187 a year in commute costs, invested instead at 8% annual returns over 40 years, grows to over $1 million. Not the $30 you spent on gas this week. $1 million in compounding wealth that went to your car and your gas tank instead of your retirement. Here's the thing though, your commute is not inevitable. If you work a desk job in emails, spreadsheets, video calls, that commute is a choice your employer is making on your behalf. You can negotiate remote work, find a hybrid arrangement to work from home 2 to 3 days a week, or consider moving closer to reduce costs entirely. The system wants you focused on the salary number and blind to everything it quietly takes from you, but you don't have to play along. When you strip away the corporate language, making you commute for free is just normalized wage theft. So do the math on your own situation. Figure out your real hourly wage. If the number bothers you, good, let it. Because once you see what your time is actually worth, something shifts. You stop chasing more hours and start thinking about what those hours could build. That's the shift I made. Instead of trading more of my time, I started putting my money to work. Every month, I automatically send $400 to $500 into a simple S&P 500 index fund. I don't stress about it. I barely check it. I just let compound interest do the heavy lifting. And here's what most people, this is not complicated, do this consistently for 30 years at a 10% historical average return. And that habit alone can grow to over $1,100,000 on total contributions of around $180,000. The rest is compounding. That number still kind of breaks my brain. Investing isn't just for people who are already rich. It's for every ordinary hardworking person in the US and Canada who's willing to start small and stay consistent. If you want to get started, check the description below. I've put together a list of trusted brokers to help you take that first step. Thanks for watching. Money gets a lot less intimidating once you understand how it actually works. So keep asking questions, keep learning, and keep going. Until next time, decode it and make it work for you.